Good morning, everybody. Welcome to OptionPit.com, the morning volatility report. It is I, Andrew Giovinazzi, Chief Operating Officer of OptionPit.com, welcoming you, to our morning volatility report. Mark, a little blog last night on VIX future spreads. Just very solid future premium. And also, normally so the market's doing two things. One is future premium is higher because there's something on the horizon. I don't know if the non-farm payroll number is that big of a deal anymore, to be honest, because the Fed sort of has telegraphed what they're going to do. They come up with a policy. We could see more out of Japan, Europe, but ultimately, this is expensive. The thing that we're really looking at is what the heck is going on with Germany. So just looking at, we've had a little bit of a markdown here. Seems to coincide with the markdown in Deutsche Bank. From let's say $13 down to here. We're trying to see. Obviously, this is an erroneous print, but trying to see really what's going on. Merkel says, well, we're not going to bail out Deutsche Bank if they have any problems with stemming from the financial crisis. The market didn't like that very much yesterday, and I think that's kind of part of the lingering issues. Real simple. It's you put a wild card out there, like what, you're going to shut off access to credit. Mostly a bank like this just needs access to credit, Deutsche Bank. But Germany not looking, I guess this as an indicator, not looking very good. We had a strategy letter idea for this for our subscribers yesterday. But I think this is basically kind of a holder of this vol premium that we're seeing. And the real simple reason is, for the last, volatility starting to come down a little bit. We had some, if you look back 5, we're just losing those kind of two big candles, and realize volatility's back below 13. Do we have a real reason to sell off? It's a tough one. I would say, we could do anything at any given time, but I think mostly there is some uncertainty around this Deutsche Bank thing. It's a large bank. It's got big exposure. That makes people nervous. It dragged down all of the major banks yesterday, Goldman, JPM. Wells Fargo just a little bit. Actually, Wells Fargo did a little better than most of the other ones. Probably a scoop. I can't see the Justice Department trying to put Deutsche Bank out of business, but never know. Because coal is out of business. Money coal companies are out of business. So I don't think that would stop them necessarily, and how the market chose to unwind that. And I think that's basically what's helping drive the premium in the vol futures. At least short term, it seems like some of this central banker machination stuff is settled, but clearly, right, there's a lift in VIX. 12 it's hard to stay at the very bottom of the range for VIX. It's pretty easy for it to pop back up at this level, especially if we have a 0.75% drop in the market or something like that. So I think this is where we sit until we need to start seeing some earnings. We start to see some growth. We need something to get the market moving higher if indeed it wants to go. We keep getting close, but we just have not really been able to just break above, what we'll call this. We'll just call this the August destruction of volatility. We could get back there, but I think we need growth. Tech has been driving, but today at least there's really no deal for oil, and the financials are still weak. That's a huge part of the S&P 500. And as you see right here, the Qs are bouncing back pretty hard today. But without help from those two major sectors, A lot of like consumer durables and stuff. A lot of the big dividend paying stocks have already had big runs this year. So oil prices need to stabilize or go up, and the financials have to stop getting, basically still 8 years after the financial crisis, still getting smacked around. Lastly, TLT keeps rallying. It's not really stopping. Volatility, let's say 60-day vol here, but this is maybe into the election, starting to rise again. Look at some of the longer volatility. You're getting a little bit of vol is not really coming in, and even with the Fed sort of, let's call it, let's say they throw their telegraph out there to what's going on, you're just not getting yields to rise, and that's the simple thing. So you don't have yields rising, and that could again be against the backdrop of some uncertainty with Deutsche Bank, and that stuff lingers. It might not be enough to tank the market, but it might also be enough to keep it from really doing much on the positive side. Kind of essentially think of it as holding back. And last but not least on our list, Twitter, rumor, all over the place. Now there's, I guess, several companies, and you're going to see a bid in 30 to 45 days. Again, all rumor. Major news outlets reporting these rumors. So Twitter is at year highs. And I think there are plays in here. If you're an Option Pit member, you can pop into our chat room, but we'll definitely look at a few things today. Because essentially that's where we are. This thing's moving, and it looks like there's some interest in it. All right. And with that, I will see you all in our chat room later today.